Welcome back to the channel where we are building a video game from scratch using Love2d and Lua. Yesterday we ended up fleshing out some pixels for our cliffside here. What up, K-Tron? How's it going, dude? Today I got an idea. So for our cabin stenciling, we end up drawing it over our player here so we can kind of walk inside. And I was thinking we could kind of modify certain things. Like our tree here has got a green background. It's got this green background which blends in if we're on the green grass here, but if we were to put this same tree over the lighter yellow background, it would clash. So my idea is now to draw stuff like the tree and the flowers with a transparent background so that we can kind of overlay those things on top of any color. So like we've got autumn flowers right here. We've got autumn flowers and see they're that what I call like the autumn green color. But what we could do is do a transparent tile and then draw on the ground layer, the ground that's beneath it, and then draw the transparent one on top. So I don't know exactly that will work, but I do want to try it because if like that could be cool. It could save us some sprites, and it could just add a little bit of less work for different stuff. Like if we wanted to put a sign like this. If we wanted to put a sign like this over the desert area, which I think we have an example of that, ideally we would like the desert area to appear beneath it instead of the... Oh my gosh, where is it? It's over here. I know there's a sign over here somewhere. Maybe we took it out. We want this background to be behind the sign, so... Yeah, we really lost it. I don't know if we... Let me show you what I'm talking about. So if we go to our ground level and we go over, we really did take them out. Okay, so look, if we have a sign here, see how the sign's got a square yellow around it? It would be nice if like the background of the sand would be back there so that we would only have one sign, one tree stump, one fence post, one tree with a transparent background, and we paint it over whatever thing we want. So let's see if this will work. So I think the first thing I'm going to try is to make ourselves a transparent tree. Now see how we got 3 trees? Sand background, grass background, autumn grass background. So let's try to change autumn grass background tree into transparent tree, and then we'll try to draw it on the top level tiles and we'll see if it inserts correctly. So that's going to be step 1 for today, and then we'll take a look. I know there's a magic wand tool. There we go. Well, and I'm thinking same with the hole too, because we've got 3 different holes. I guess it depends on which. We do have different color schemes for the holes, so maybe we keep those, but let's see. Fuck. I know there's a better way to do this, but I'm already using the selection tool. We're just making this stuff transparent, and then we'll try to place it in the proper layer. So we've got a transparent tree. We're going to go ahead and save as master sheet. And then we will reload our tiled with the new tile sheet. Okay. And then now our tree has a transparent background. So let's see. Let's try it right here because we've got a couple different tiles to put it over. So if we go to the right twice from when we spawn, we already have ground level tiles right there. So I'm going to go to the top level tile and start to put in a tree like this. So see how the tile is behind the tree there? And then we'll try to put it behind. Even in animatable, I'm kind of curious if an animatable, we can't really see. But there might be one frame of animatable we might be able to see over there. I'm just kind of testing to see if we can see those different things behind the tree here. So if we go and export this as global map, that'll give us 2 layers of data tiles, one ground level, one top level, and then our top level, I believe it's in our map class. It might be in our scene, actually. Render the map. Yeah, I think it's in our scene, because our scene is what holds the current map and our player. So it is in our scene. And we'll leave a little note here. So like, look, this is our current map render. If there is a next map, we render it. We then render our player in the scene, and then we have to push out the translate for the scene here, so that when we're transitioning scenes, that the objects are rendered at the correct position. So that's what this adjacent offset X and Y is. So this is where we're actually rendering top level tiles. So if we save and run this, let's see if we get our transparent trees over here. Wow. Now, that was jacked up. They flashed. They flashed because I was being hit. Oh, wow. So they render off screen okay, but they don't render on screen okay. That makes me wonder. That would mean that this one, oh yeah, see, our door doesn't render. The top of our door doesn't render right when we initiate a scene change. It's only when we're done there. So I guess we have to take a look at, are we setting, oh, we have to, I think we'd have to put it, shoot. Because at the difference is when we're entering a new scene. So like right here, the tile is in the current map. There becomes a next map once we start transitioning, but the tiles that are going off are still in the current map. Now here, when we go the other way, the tiles are in the next map coming into our map. So I think that's the main difference, that it's not rendering coming into the scene, because we're not rendering the top level tile maps for the next map, only for the current map. Oh, and look at this. We were able to put the tree over an animatable object, because you could see the flower there toggling on and off every couple frames or whatever. So that is cool. That would mean if we had like water behind a tree or something, that you would see the water moving behind the transparent tree here. Then you can see like the grass behind the tree and the pathway behind the tree, and it's not locked into the hard-coded square pixels, which is kind of neat. So we just have to figure out how to get our next map to render our top level tiles. So we do only render, I think it would be as simple as in this loop, if there is a next map. Now we set next map to nil anytime we aren't transitioning. So if there is a next map, let's see, if there is a next map, then we would want to render not the current map's tile ID for the top level tiles, but the next map's ID also. Let's see that. Let's see. What up, Magnetonics? How's it going, dude? What the heck happened there? That's not working. It's rendering it. It is rendering the top level tile in the scene, but it's not translating it right. Well, that one's way jacked up. Wow. Okay. So maybe we're just... Next map. Let's leave this as current map, because we do want to shift it based on the current map's offset. But we want to render... Shoot, how would we do this? Current map, top level tiles. So we might need the top level tiles for the next map and then render it out. So maybe... I really don't know. But if we put the next map top level tiles, and then we draw that tile at the current offset, maybe that'll work. All right. Self.nextMap. Okay, we want to only do this if there is a next map. Okay, let's see. Still jacked up. So it is rendering them, but it's not rendering them at the right location, right? Not at the right offset. So maybe that's where we have to put in here the next map offset. I really don't know. Hard for me to wrap my head around this. Let's see. That looks like it. That looks like it. Let's see. The trees over here should have it. Nice. They're over there. What's on the coding menu? Yeah, so we're working on, instead of having a bunch of tiles, see I had 3 of the same tree tile for different backgrounds. So if it was drawn on sand, it would look like this. If it was drawn on grass, it'd look like this. So what I did today was export a transparent tree so that we could draw it over any tile. So like a good example of this is if we look at our tiled over here. If we look at our tiled, we can see like over here, we've got this signpost over the sand, but see the design of the sand? It makes it clear that this is just a square tile over the sand. So we're going to try to eliminate all the doubles we have with different colored backgrounds and just put transparent stuff in there. So we can try that right now with the signpost, where we can say, you know, now we don't have 2 signposts, but we have 1 signpost. And it's transparent, and we can save this into our tile sheet. We can save our tiled tile sheet and reload it. Now, instead of this, we just have to make sure we're on the right layer. So there's ground level tile. So we have to make sure our ground level has the sand that is supposed to be beneath our sign. So we'll put right here, we'll put sand there, and then we'll put our transparent sign over it. But we have to make sure we're on the top level layer. So now we can see that design pattern behind the sign. And even if we wanted to put it above the bones icon, you could still see the bones beneath it. And this works with animatable tiles too, which we just saw. So like if we go to our page over here where we have a bunch of flowers and water, we can put signs over the animated flowers, and let's see if we see them animating. Yeah, export to global map. We will run our game again. Let's see. Oh, see the transparent sign now because our ground level didn't have any layer. But there we go. We got animations working behind. We don't have the collidable map object for our sign, which is a little concerning. This sign is... oh, shoot. Okay. Yeah, by the time we insert collidable map objects, it reads the tile ID. Okay. Wow, yeah, okay, this is a little jacked up. So how the collidable map objects works is it'll read the tile IDs. If it's in the range of collidable map object tile IDs, which is everything between the red bar here, so anything in here should be collidable. But the thing is, when we draw something like a sand background, the sand background isn't a collidable map object because it's way outside of that range. So when it goes to insert a collidable map object, it's inserting it based on the ground level tile and not the top level tile. So I think we need to also check our top level tile table to insert any collidable map value. So if either of those objects we're inserting into the same tile, you know, whether it be the sand background or the sign foreground or top level, whatever we want to call it, if either one of those are a collidable map object, we need to insert that object into the map scene so that we have collidable properties. So let's see where we're doing this collidable map property. Collidable map objects, we're inserting right there. So this is that tile range of collidable map objects, but we're only inserting, see, we're only inserting from the tiles. We have to also insert, we can do the same thing where local tiles get self.top level tiles. And if after we cycle through that 2D array, if those IDs are also, man, I know there's a better programming way to do this because we're doing the same thing twice. I guess we can say, I don't know, we'll see if this works first off. Replace with F, okay. So if the ID is smaller than 97 and the tile ID is also, or greater than 97 and smaller than this 256, then we want to go ahead and insert a collidable map object. And the collidable map object, it just takes in a row and a column for the current scene. So even if we have potentially two collidable map objects being inserted, I don't know if that'll break it. I don't think it would. It would just overwrite whatever the first one was in there. So now we're checking through our top level tiles and inserting collidable map objects based on top level tiles as well. So let's see, we shouldn't be able to walk through a sign. Okay, that is good. Okay, so here's, yeah, another issue. We can't walk through it now, which is good, but we are rendering the top level tiles on top of our character, which is what we told it to do because we wanted that stenciling action. So it's almost like we might need another layer, right? So we have like a ground level layer, we have a collidable object layer, then we have a top level layer. And the top level's the only one that gets rendered above us, but the other one would trigger any collidable map objects to be inserted. Now that's that's, you know, it's not exactly right. Well, because right now our collidable map objects are being inserted automatically based on the tile ID. So the difference is we want the stacking that we get from the top level render, but we don't want the top level render of that aspect according to top level as in rendering over us. We want it to render over the ground level, but not over us. So there's a couple ways we could try to go about this. We could just have a second layer, not top level tiles. And it doesn't have anything to do with collidable map objects, but it does have something to do with rendering above the ground level, but beneath our player. So we could add another layer that is just what would be one level higher than the ground level, but still beneath the player. Because we do want to say, hey, that tile is a collidable map object, so that's why we can't collide. And we should be able to walk in front of the sign just a bit for that 3D illusion, but it should render beneath us. So let's try to go back to our map declarations, and I think we want to add another layer. I think we want to add this, what can we call it? Ground level versus above ground level and then top level. Maybe something like that. So if we look, this is the ground level, right? We're saving a top level tile. So we would need to make a ground level tile, and we would extract it from another layer in tiled. So we would come here and say this is a ground level tiled map, and I can put them in order so it's like well, this one's already layer 2. Yeah, you know what, let's switch the layers around. We'll do tiled map, which is really the ground level layer. We probably should call it ground tiled map. This will be layer 2, and we insert that into a table called ground level tiled map. Now we need to make sure we have, okay, we do have the empty table here. We made it, and then we go and insert it with all the data. Then this is a 9,000 tile ID table. And then we're gonna make a top level tile, and that's gonna be level 3. So let's see. Yeah, tiled map, ground level tiled map, top level tiled map. So then we can say, okay, well, each map needs to hold a reference of all the tile IDs for the given ground, not ground level, but we shouldn't call this ground level. We should call this, because this one's the ground, this one's the above ground. So I'll call this above ground. Above ground, and then top level is the one that goes above us. So above ground is what we're calling it. So we'll give ourselves a field called above ground level tiled map. Give us an empty table initialized at the given map index. So there's a total of 10 by 10 of these. So for 100 scenes in our overworld, then we've got a bunch of stuff here. Now, I don't like, we'll probably make a function that can do this instead of me doing it 3 times like this, but I'm just trying to get it to work, and then we can make it pretty later. But I'm reinitializing all these local variables, cycling through the entire 9,000 tile of our, like this is every tile of our overworld basically, and then I'm counting which call we're on, which map call we're on, how many rows we've inserted, because it spits out 9,000 items back to back. So we have to tell it, hey, this item goes exactly in this grid on this map. So that's what this code is doing. And then instead of inserting into the dot map, we want to insert it into the above ground level tiled map, and not the tiled map ID, but the top level, you know, we have to say it at the ground level, above ground level table. Above ground, so our data downloader, above ground level tiled map. Above ground level tiled map. Yeah. So our data downloader gives us this above ground level tiled map with 9,000 arrays. Now there is, if we don't draw anything in the map, it'll spit a 0 in there, and then we handle that 0 in the render, because if we just trash it, then we don't know which grid and row it's in, so we kind of have to keep it, which I'm not a super huge fan of. But let's just keep going and try. So we've got this above ground level tiled map now populated with our data downloader. So this should allow us, this should mean that our layer 2 should now be named above ground, and then we can add it there. And then when we go and add in our scene, we can check our render out and we can see that we're going from, you know, we render our current map. If we've got a next map, we render that. Then we render our player. So after current map or inside current map, we need to also render the above ground level tiles, not just our tiled map. So we can probably add that to our map because it kind of goes there. Now let's see where we're rendering our tiled map. Right here, render map declaration tiles from our tile ID? Tile ID from our self.tiles. Okay, so we need to give our map a table. Let's see, because we should have a top level tile for the map. We do right here. So just like how we're populating our ground level tiles, and just like how we're populating our top level tiles, we need to populate our above ground level tiled map. It should, let's see, this is, hold on. Actually, I'll just leave to do there so we can find it, but I need to make sure I'm naming this the right thing from our map declarations. Above ground level tiled map. I just want above ground tiled map. I just don't need the level in there. Above ground tiled map. So we'll go in here and make sure that when we declare our table, we give it that same name, above ground tiled map. And then now we can go back right here, and we can say above ground tiled map. Now, this isn't like we're gonna be assigning all the values from, you know what? I think we might be able to pull off a straight up assignment. We shouldn't have to go through. I'm kind of curious if we can get away with a straight up assignment instead of doing this loop stuff, because all the above ground tiled map is 80 tile IDs. And what we're doing is like cycling through each one, putting it every insert, but the above ground tiled map is already 80 IDs, so I'm thinking we can just straight up assign it. I might try that with one of these other layers and see if it breaks anything. This should be called above ground tiled map at index count, then increment the count. So we shouldn't crash here. Well, above ground level tiled map at 25 we kept level on our map declaration, so we'll get rid of that. Above ground level, Bound ground tiled map. Ground tiled map. See how this is global and we're just getting all the values? Yeah, dude, we should be able to get away with a straight up assignment. It should be a lot easier. Come on, dude. Misspelled it at 25. Above ground tiled map. Really? What is going on? Above? Oh my gosh. Above ground tiled map. Okay. Okay. Oh, we don't have a table 3 to extract from, so that's what it's confused at. So let's give it a third layer. So this top level now needs to be reassigned to, let's see, new tile layer. This will be called above ground. I swear I just named it. Above ground. Okay. Now above ground will be there. Top level will be there. Is top level... Okay. So we would need to go ahead and change what's in top level, but for now, I'm just going to save as a global map, or export as a global map so that we can at least see if we're crashing, so we can test that straight up assignment. If that works and we're still crashing, bad argument 1 at map 49. Map 49, let's go check it out. Above ground tiled map. Okay, we need to initialize an above ground tiled map to an empty table up here so that we know where to insert it. So we'll give ourselves that empty table. Dude, I think we can just straight up assign it. I think that'll work. Okay. So nothing should be fixed yet, but the fact that the sign is still rendering on top of us, even though our tiled map is at level 3 now, that proves that we did the layer indexing correct on the map data downloader. So let's try this. Instead of this, look, instead of all these lines, I wonder if we can just say, you know, instead of taking the ID, oh, yeah, you know what? We can't just straight up assign it because we need those fields to be called ID, because that's how we're drawing it. So I thought that would be cool, but I think we actually need that because we draw it at the tile ID. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, okay, cool. So it is working. So now let's undraw the top level tiles for our signs and stuff, and then we'll make sure that in our scene we're rendering not only the tile map for the ground, but also the above ground tiled map, so that we would get that layering for the transparent, and then the tile ID remains unchanged on the second. We're checking both layers for, and you know what? Let's go check our collidable map objects and make sure we're doing, yeah, see this. We don't want to check top level tiles for collidableness. We want to check the ground, above ground tiled map. Okay. And we're checking for collidable map objects in this second layer called above ground tiled map. And we do have that field here because we go and pull it from, oh, see, not from our self.tiles, but from our self. We're getting there. It would be our above ground tiled map at index Y. So we're inserting into each index. And this is kind of like, we store 10 rows. Actually, it's 8 rows because there's the HUD at the bottom. So it's 10 wide, 10 tile sizes wide of 16 by 16, and it's 8 high because the 9th row is actually our HUD. So there's only a 10 by 8. So we're actually giving us, we say, here, give us a whole table for our above ground tiled map, but then every time we're in our column, we're inserting a tile. So we have, at the end of it, we'll have 8 indexes, and those are our rows, and each of those indexes has 10 tiles for all of the columns in the row. So that's what this is. And then we're inserting collidable map objects based on the above ground tiled map, because we want, if the ground is a not collidable object, but the layer above it is, like the sign above the grass or above the flowers, then we do want to make that a collidable map object. We just don't want to render it on top of us like we are on our top level tiled map. So now the last step, I think, is to go into our scene and go to where we're rendering. Okay, this is not it, but I think it's in our map, actually. When we render our current map, we want to render the tiled map, which is the ground level, and then we want to render the above ground level. So in our map, when we are rendering, right here, we're rendering from the tiles ID. Now, I'm trying to think if this would accidentally overwrite some of our... I guess we'll try it. I guess let's just try it. Because we're drawing... No, it won't. Okay, this should work. This should work. We're rendering our map declaration tiles, then we need to render... Then we should call that render above ground tiles, and then we pull a local tile from our above ground tiled map, and this is that Y and X. This is why we did it row by row and columns inside the row, so that we can do this. And then we're just doing that X-1 to offset the one indexing of Lua, and then we're drawing them at the appropriate place. Okay, so this should, I say should work. Let's see if we crash first off. We do. Map 172, we're crashing because we don't have, a tile ID for it? Local tile gets above ground tiled map. Okay, what did it say? It didn't like... Bad argument 2, a quad expected. Okay, we don't have... Why would that not work? If we comment that out, you're fine. But you're using the quad ID just up here, so why would you not have that tiled ID? This only tells me that we don't have an ID field in our top level tiled map. But I thought, and this is why I couldn't just do that straight up assignment I was talking about, because we need that tile ID. So above ground tiled map, let's make sure we're giving ourselves that ID, which is in our map declarations. Maybe not. Ooh. above ground tiled map ID gets the above ground tiled map.count. So maybe our data downloader went wrong somewhere. Because we should have that ID field. Above ground tiled map, okay. We are doing something different here. Oh, we aren't accounting for the 0 index. So when we export a transparent sprite from tiled, it counts as 0, and we can't draw an ID of 0. That's not a quad. So that's what the error was. So we need to come in here and shift all of our top level tiles, tile IDs with above ground tiled map. Okay, and the other thing is, yeah, we just need to make sure that this is called the same thing too, above ground tiled map. Okay. Shit, man. Shit. 71. Attempt to index a local tile, a nil value. Map 71. That's right here. Tile ID was a nil value, so we're still not doing that right. Let me call this above ground tiles so that we don't have any conflicting names here. And then we'll make sure that this top level tiles this is above ground tiles. Now what are we doing anything else with this top level tiles? We're just inserting a table into it. Oh, right here we are jacking that up. So this needs to be above ground tiles. Okay. So the above ground tiles is the map object, but the tiled map is the... Oh gosh, I'm getting confused. Let's see if it crashes. Yeah, above ground tiled map, a nil value. Okay, if we look at this one up here, we've got the tile IDs going in. See, top level tile IDs, not tiled map. So where do we get these top level tile IDs? And actually, searching in here, top level tile IDs. This is weird. This is the only instance of us doing this. So it's like we don't even initialize this table. We just kind of tell it, okay, this table exists. So I think we're doing something like that with the above ground tiled map. Let's see, above ground tiled map, and we'll keep the same convention. Oh, yeah, we are doing it wrong here. Shoot. Render, okay. That's the render, so that's wrong. It's this one. This is a tiles table, above ground tiled map. No, that should be right. Okay, so I think the first thing we want to do, this is wrong. So let's not do this just yet. Let's see if, does that stop us crashing? No. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is just give us same level, same consistency for, this should be tile IDs. And then what else is wrong? Top level tiles, top level tiles, above ground tiles, above ground tiles. Okay. And then if we look at the top level tiles, it's an empty table, which we have our above ground tiles getting. Then we have our function here that goes and inserts the tile IDs. Okay. Same like our above ground tiles right here. Now this is inserting on a global count, not a local count. I don't think that will. It's just a bad idea to have a above ground tile IDs a nil value. So our data downloader's got to be jacked. We should be inserting tiled map tile ID. This looks wrong. Why is it that our tile ID... Oh, see, this is weird. Our ground level tiles are in a naked... I keep calling it that, like a naked. They're just in this map object. They're just assigned into it no field whatsoever. They're just in there, so that if you do a 3D array, it'll be indexing into this field, but not based on a dot ground level tile IDs field. So that's the only difference here, I'm thinking, but we're inserting into our top level tile IDs, and then we're inserting into our above ground tile IDs. Son of a bitch. 147 right here, above ground tile IDs. Okay, so we just need to have the proper convention here. Okay, so I was wrong about those things not being initialized. They're initialized right here as an empty table. So we do initialize them outside of the map class, and we're still crashing on map 70. Above ground tiled map at IJ. Okay. Let's go. Let's see. Holy crap, man. What is it? Self dot above ground tile IDs. Above ground tiles is what it is. Jeez. Okay. Let's see. We have to actually give ourselves the proper tile layers now, because these are still in top level and they shouldn't be. So let's make sure these are erased from our top level. We do want to keep our cabin at the top level because that needs to render above our player. Trees don't go in top level, they go in above ground, because we need to be above a tree if we're below it. That's the stupidest thing I've ever said. We need to render on top of a tree if we're beneath it. Okay, then we'll get rid of those. We'll go to our above ground level and we'll draw a couple tests here. So now, we can now see that, let's go to our ground level first. We need to make sure our ground level has like things that the sign can go on top of. That looks okay, except for that one. And actually, see, and that's cool too. We can have this edge grass here and then the sign on top of it, so we don't get that. That's really cool. If this works. Above ground level tile. So let's draw these. So let's draw our transparent sign in a couple spots. We'll draw it here. We'll draw it here just to show that it can go over a multitude of different things. And then we'll try to draw our trees again over here, our transparent tree. Over here, over here and here. So let's export this as a global map. Now the global map is the thing we're running our data downloader on, going through each of those layers. We might need this top level turned on for the export. I don't know if that matters. Let's see. Now that we exported the global map, we'll come in here, we'll check. Okay, so it looks like we don't need the top level unvisible. Oh shit, but we're not rendering our above ground here properly because they are there. Like, we're not able to walk on the sign, but we're not rendering it. So let's go find it in our scene. We should be rendering. Oh, wait. This is in our map. Above ground tiles, collidable maps. Yeah, let's go to the render. Okay, we're rendering the tile. Oh, we took it off. We took it off. Okay, now we should have a tile ID for the above ground tiled map. Son of a... We got to do tile IDs, I think. Son of... Maybe not. Above ground tile what? Above ground tile what? Let's see our dot tiles. We have an above... It's above ground tiles. Jeez, man. Above ground tiles. Jeez. We've got above ground tile IDs. We've got above ground tiled map. We've got above ground tiles. Why do we do this? Oh. Yes. We've got... Yes. That's it. We're rendering above the sign. We've got collidable map object detection, so we can't walk through it. We still have a top level that renders over us because we can walk inside this thing. So we've got top level, ground level, and above ground level. And our above ground level can even go above animations because you can see the flower animating under our sign here. This is awesome. And then I'll go check out the trees and make sure the trees are rendering above. Oh shit, fuck. Get out of here. Yes. This is sweet. This is awesome. Okay. So this allows us to do some more optimization with our pixel art, because now instead of having 3 of these trees, 2 of these fences, 2 of these stumps, 2 of these signs, 3 of these holes, we can instead have 1 tree, 1 stump, 1 fence, 1 sign, transparent. We draw the ground level first, we draw this over it. Boom, boom, bada boom. So the only thing that kind of sucks is that, see, like, we don't need this green sign. The only thing that kind of sucks is that once we delete these out of this master sheet tiles, once we delete this master sheet, our tile ID project will update, and then any one of these trees we did draw won't be in there anymore. So we'd have to replace it with the new transparent tree, but that's totally fine. I mean, we just want to get rid of it at this point because now we don't need it. That's nice. That saves some optimization. Now, like, there are trade-offs, right? Like, the data downloader does only run once, but it goes through 9,000 tiles 3 different times and pulls in a lot of nonsense data if you think about it. Because if we look at what the tiled map, the global map, exports from tiled, and tiled is the application we're using to draw it, check out layer 2 and 3, right? So, like, look, ground level layer has a lot of data, all these different tile IDs for all the different tiles that we draw on the ground. And then our above ground layer, look at how junk this is. Almost all zeros. Look, there's a couple not zeros, right? A couple not zeros, but it's mostly zeros. So, like, the trade-off we get is, like, now we're not only, you know, we're importing, instead of just 9,000 tiles, we're importing 27,000 tiles. And then when we go to render, we also need to render through And this is, our game's a little bit smarter than that because it's not rendering the whole game, it's only rendering the current map. So instead of rendering 80 tiles, we have to also go through and check if the next 80 tiles are any above ground levels tiles, and then we have to check if there's any top level tiles. So instead of 80 tiles, we're rendering 240 tiles every frame. You know, so that's a little trade-off. But we get to optimize the artwork so that we can draw different things with transparent layers. So we're just gonna have a couple different transparent collidable map objects now. And then we'll update our map to use them. So we'll just make, this is awesome. This is really cool. Boom. Okay. Then I think I kind of like this green hole. Like, we'll make it transparent, but we'll make the light green transparent. And actually, yeah, let's do this. Because there are 3 of these holes. I think we only need 1. So we'll make this transparent. Transparent, this is nice. Any light green, we're making transparent. And then we can render it over any background. Okay, sweet. Okay, nice. This is cool. Look at how many of these we can get rid of now. And so one cool thing about doing it this way is these are not necessarily the final designs, right? So if we were like, you know what, let's change the tree stump a little bit, we'd have to change it for the tree stump on the grass background, change it on the yellow background, on the gray background. But now all we have to do is change the transparent one, and then boom, we're done. So it's a good idea for that as well. And then same with the stairs. Like if we want stairs in the sand, we should be able to do that. We'll leave this for now because I don't know if we're even going to go with these stairs, but that is looking so much cleaner. Okay, then we've got this weird stuff. This is our 75 dedicated transparent tile for when we're doing our top level tile IDs. Okay. Yeah, and then we don't need this one. Sweet. So now if we actually save as this master sheet, now this is the bummer, is when we come into tiled here and we reload this, since we changed the tile ID of what we drew, we have some jacked up shit. See, look, we put, yeah, this is bad. This is okay though. I mean, yeah, it's a little jacked up. Look at all that shit we've messed up. But now a tree stump can be on top of tall grass, which we didn't even have a sprite for. So we can go and redraw some of this stuff. And this is why, you know, I mean, these are all placeholders anyway. So I'm kind of curious if we export this, I think it'll look just like this, like a black background, because we save it. We need to export as. We have our background set as black, so that I think we do. It's either black or gray. Let's see. It is black. Okay, that's what I thought. So they are transparent now, so the game's background is what they're showing, so it looks jacked up, but we knew that would happen. So all we have to do is go into our ground, and what we could do is first go into our above ground layer, and we can give ourselves all the ones we're missing. So it's like this. Wait. Yeah. Jeez. Okay, yeah. So our above ground layer, say like, oh, we need our above ground stumps, so we can go through and add those. Not that they need to be all caught, but just so that we can not have black sprites when we walk around. And then it looks like our autumn tiles were replaced with our pit. Because look at this up here. All of these are now different. So I'm wondering, oh no, were those fence posts? What did those used to be? Signs? I don't know, but we can erase them. They should be in the ground level, yeah. So this is the one thing I don't like about using tiled, because if we change the positions of anything in our tile master sheet, like we just had to do because we got rid of 12 sprites and we moved things, the move should have been, well, yeah, it would have jacked things up regardless, yeah. It would have jacked things up. So the tricky thing is we have to know which level we're at. So it's like, oh, grass on the ground level should be beneath all of these. And then we should have top level stumps at least, which we don't. But then we can have not top level, not top level. Above ground. For the most part, I'm probably going to leave top level off so we don't accidentally touch it. And then above ground. So now those can draw above it. And then on our ground level, we can go and make sure we've got tall grass beneath our stumps. Hey, Dark Scorpion, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Nice, look at that. Like when we go to draw tall grass beneath it, it just adds it right underneath it, which is really cool. So that's nice. Not that any of this really matters. They're placeholders anyway. But and we shouldn't have to do this fairly often at all. It's good we figured this out sooner. So yeah, we're building a Zelda type game here, like Link's Awakening on Game Boy. So we're actually drawing it at Game Boy resolution. We're rendering it based on tiles. So we have one tile sheet that we're rendering all of our map from, and we're using this application to draw different layers so that we can have a tree stump on top of grass or on top of sand and only have one tree stump. So I'm looking for grass so that we can draw more ground level tiles here, and our above ground layer needs our transparent fences, and then we can go draw our grass at ground level here, and we can actually add these edges, which we weren't able to do before, considering we want our tree to be plopped down right there. And if we zoom in, we can see the grass now has this, it has a yellow edge on the left side and the green edge on the right side. So it's transparent, drawing over whatever layer we had underneath it. So we can continue to flesh out. These all have grass underneath it. This was another tree of transparent that we have to make sure we draw on the right level and fill it with the right color underneath. That's cool. So we can draw this and this, but maybe this one has the green like this. This is so cool because yeah, like we used to have just the hard-coded green everywhere, but now the pattern is this pattern with the yellow above it, and now we can draw the fences on top of that. Same with right here, where we want the white on that sprite as well, and then maybe the left on this side, and maybe we want the right on these sides, something like that. So now it just gives it a little more polished look. It isn't true to how Game Boy sprites were working, but it is cool still. Okay, so this was, if we go to ground and we put our autumn ground in here, like this, these were all transparent fence posts, but we need to make sure we're on the right layer. Nice, this is really cool. Then this was a tree, which now we can give it certain shape. Like now we can put this corner right here and then draw our, hey, sorry, Matt, that's Blue Kazakhs. Thank you for the follow. We are actually drawing on the wrong layer here. But we need a tree here. This is like the first time we're able to get different tiles rendering on the same location. So we're having fun kind of painting different tiles behind other tiles. So like we can put a little transparent fence. If we go to the right layer, the fence can go above, and then I'll show once we are done painting this, I can export and show that all we have to do is draw it once in this program. And this is what I was worried about with this program, is that I would forget which layer I'm on and do things wrong. So I think it's going to be good hygiene to only solo whatever layer I'm working on. Well, I don't know, it gets tough. And then I just did it again. What's cool is our object collision is baked in based on what the tile is. So if we draw a tree stump, our game automatically knows you can't walk over that. So now that we've got most of this should be, I forgot what these were. This looks like, this is the one we spawn on. Let's just add this grass to it like that. And then we can add to our above ground level all of these. And then grass to our ground level. And then we'll re-add these stumps, these fence posts. And we add these fence posts so you can't walk into the cliff here. What did we just do? Yeah. So sweet. Now all we have to do to get animatables working is to draw the first frame of them here in this map, and then our game goes ahead and adds them for us, which is really sweet. And one thing I just thought about too is we can, instead of having two animatable objects and two insert or anim spitters, what we can do is do the same thing that we're doing here with the above ground, and we go ahead and insert a flower anim as a transparent flower animation. Therefore, we draw the ground of what we want, and then we draw the flowers on top of the ground, and then we can eliminate a whole anim spitter from all of our tables and scenes, or all of our maps and scenes. That'll be kind of cool. Because then we can get rid of that autumn flower spitter, and then we shouldn't have to do a lot of stuff like this. We only have to redo these because we shifted the tile IDs on our export. So I think we're at a decent spot to go ahead and try and make sure it works. So we can come in here and draw some tall grass right there. Let's go ahead and export this as global map. We'll also save it. And after all that drawing, we just have to run our game and it should be in there. Nice. So we've got everything that's supposed to be a collidable map ID. And what we did today was this sign is transparent. You can see because we're drawing it on top of this weird edge thing, and it's not a 16 by 16 grid. We're actually drawing it transparent on top, and we're rendering in front of it, whereas there's a third layer of tiles that render on top of us. So like this door here is rendering on top of us, but we're rendering, our player's rendering on top of the ground map, and then the above ground map is rendering on top of that to give us that transparency. This is so cool. This looks so much smoother because now this fence has these colors behind it that we just didn't have before. And all the collidable maps are working. We're able to draw a map on top of an animatable, and then soon we'll be able to actually draw animatables. These flowers should all be the same animatable. Right now they're actually two. There's an autumn flower animatable and a normal flower animatable. So this is really cool. We do have to fix, we have to get, we've got a bunch of these black stumps around, which we can fix, but in the grand scheme of things, we have to fix our player walking is looking a little jittery walking down still. So I want to fix that probably before we record the trailer, but maybe not. Maybe we just record it as is and then we can update it. I'm just trying to get rid of some of these black stumps here by giving them the proper background. And then this is cool. And now, like, if we're in the above ground layer and we want a sign over a complex background such as this sand, when we draw it in there, the sand is behind it. That's really cool. Sweet. That adds a lot. This is really cool. This is all I wanted to get done today. So maybe this is jacked. This is, we don't want this anyway. I mean, this was our old corner. So for right now, and since this is, these are all temp holder tiles anyway, so I haven't been caring too much about getting good things. Oh, we need to make sure we're on the right layer. That's the hardest thing about this. Okay. We'll draw that this is all green. Oh my gosh, I did the same exact thing just now. Okay, ground level. We're drawing all grass. And then I've been adding, so that I know we're at the top level 1-1 of our map, I've just been adding these sands to show the edges of the whole map so that I know if I can't walk over something, it's because we're at the end of the map. So that's just what I've got there. Our 1-1 is really plain, but this is all placeholder, obviously. It's all junk still. Because if you look at how many sprites we have, we've got like 50 sprites? I don't know, something like that. Very super little amount of sprites, yet we're able to render this whole map. So as we build out the variety of sprites, this map will start to look a lot more unique. We've only got like 20 sprites right now, so we will build it out. This is sweet. Oops. Okay, so I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna go ahead and export this as a global map, and then I'm gonna test it and make sure we didn't break anything before we commit. Sweet, sweet. Awesome. The sign can go over tall grass now, which is great. And collidable map objects work. See, like right now, we don't have an anim spitter for flowers over tall grass. We could leave it like this, or we could pull out the flower anim into a transparent flower anim spitter and then render it on the above ground level tile layer so that we can insert flowers over water if we wanted to. Sweet. Sweet, sweet. Wow, these guys have a lot of health. I thought they had 2 hits, but that was like 4. Sweet. Okay. This, yeah, that used to be a different thing. I kind of want like a fountain. So in the game lore, like these geckos are corrupted. That's why they're like oozing out this like purple goop. So we're cleansing them with our magic. We're not like, you know, killing them. We're just helping them. And then I kind of want these geckos to be feeding off this like fountain of corruption that's oozing out of the map somewhere. So we'll have like a particle emitter for this corruption somewhere where the tiles, where there are enemies that are corrupted. And then by the time you clear the biomes, I think it'd be cool to have like that turn into a pure water fountain. So like it looks like it's spouting corruption at first, but once you cleanse the biome, it turns clear. Something like that. And then spots like this, where this flower should be over an edge piece that has yellow like this, but it's got pure green, which I think we should pull out the anim into a transparent layer. And then we need to set our color to white upon rendering our top level tiles, because if you look, I'm going to get hit and then we'll watch the top level tiles of the cabin. So hit and then see it flash. So it flashed up there because we didn't flush our set color. So we should be able to go to our scene, I believe. I believe our scene has where we're doing our top level tiles, and before we draw, let's just set the color to pure white so we don't get that red. Set color to pure white. So RGB 255s and 255 for the alpha, and we're gonna also do it for the other tiles too. Top level tiles as well as our normal tiles, just to be safe. Let's see if that fixed it. Let's see, I'm gonna get hit, and then as I'm flashing, I'm gonna walk left, and we'll see if the cabin is flashing with us or if we fixed it. Okay, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna do it one more time to make sure, because I went over there kind of before I was flashing, but I think we did do it. Nice, sweet. Okay, that's looking awesome. Okay, let's check this out. We modified a couple of different things. We gave ourselves a whole new layer for our tiled map. So we've now got an above ground tile map. We also, oh my goodness, we've got a lot. See all that junk data, but it's okay. There's trade-offs in everything in programming. So we've given ourselves this above ground tile table. We go and populate it with our data downloader stuff. I can get rid of that to do. And then we insert into each map. This is the data downloader stuff. The other one was putting it from the data downloader into our map object itself. And then we are rendering our top level tiles. What did we change here? Why are we doing, in our scene, we're rendering our top level tiles. We weren't doing this before. Top level tiles. I'm a little confused why that's not ground level tiles. Where do we render our ground level tiles? Render top level tiles. We render our ground level tiles in our map, which is right here. Okay. How were we rendering our top level tiles before though? Top level tiles, tile sheet, tile ID. Oh, we just added a block. All this green for the next map is adding the block to actually shift it for the next map. So that was the bug fix for that. So we did pretty good adding all that stuff. So we did do a couple of things. We shift top level tiles upon scene transition. We added a above ground tiled layer and render above ground layer. Sweet. That's awesome. That's huge. That's awesome. Hey, thanks everyone for watching. K-Tron, I hope your homework's going well. We've got a, let's see. I'm going to see if we've got a team member who is streaming right now so that we can raid out team. I need to bookmark this so we've got it, but we've got, let's see. Practical streaming like always. We've got Bad Cop. Let's see what he's up to. She's up to. Or let's see. Yeah, let's raid JD Does Dev. He's always nice to me. So we'll raid out. I'll be back tomorrow. I typically stream most nights 7 p.m. Mountain Time. JD Does Dev. How come I can't spell this? I think I did that right. Let's try that. Oh gosh, I am messing it up. Yeah, K-Tron, you have a good night too. Yep, I am gonna program my website more tonight, and then I'll be able to share it once it's done. It's pretty close. But yeah, it'll be fun to share some non-game programming projects with y'all. But yeah, I'll be back. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Hope you had fun. And I'll catch you next time.